address on the subject which according to me is of vital importance today. I am fortunate to have with me Justice H. Suresh, whose learnings and moral courage I have great respect for and from whom I always got inspiration in my career while working as a judge. Now, all of you are lawyers, most of you are lawyers. We need not go into the basics, but I thought that when I should speak on this subject, that is challenges to the independent functioning of the judiciary and the bar, we must start with some basic concepts, though very briefly. So we must understand the concept of independence of judiciary. Now this concept, that is independence of judiciary, is so well accepted that there is hardly any discussion on what it means. The independence of judiciary is linked with the independence of the bar, as both are interrelated to a large extent and give support to each other. Now, it is well accepted everywhere that without an independent judiciary, no democracy would ever survive. And if the judiciary is not independent, there would be no rule of law. It is universally acknowledged that the constitution of a modern democratic state governed by rule of law must guarantee judicial independence. It is in 1994 itself that the United Nations Commission on Human Rights recorded that it was convinced that an independent and impartial judiciary and an independent legal profession are essential prerequisites for the protection of human rights and for ensuring that there is no discrimination in the administration of justice. Now, probably because the principle is so widely accepted and is never attempted to be challenged, we don't find any attempts to analyze it in details as to what it means. We also may not go much into that, but broadly speaking, there will be two approaches. The first one will be that independence of the individual judges to decide the disputes before them independently without any extraneous pressure. The other approach, which is a broader one and which is more appropriate in the context of the independence of the judiciary as a whole, is that independence of the judiciary as an institution. Now this means that not only the decision-making process should be free from any pressure, but the enforcement of that also should be within the control of the judiciary itself. It ensures that judiciary will function as a separate arm of the state. The infrastructure which is necessary for the delivery of the judgment and for the enforcement, that also within the control and authority of the judiciary. Now, we don't get any challenges to the proposition because nobody in theory opposes this. Nobody says that judiciary need not be independent. Therefore, we have hardly any discussion on why it should be independent. It's not difficult to understand that, but it's not an original concept. It is not an old concept. In the olden days, there was definitely no concept of independence of judiciary. The accusers, investigators, prosecutors, judges, all used to be the same person or persons. They would make the accusation, declare a person guilty, sentence him and even execute that sentence. Therefore, there was hardly any guarantee of any objective adjudication, and obviously this was resulting in the abuse of the power of the state. Now, the modern states are all governed, sometimes the states and the union government. The judiciary has to decide the disputes between the rich and the poor, the weak and the mighty. And unless it is out of the control of the executive organ of the state, it cannot deliver justice, it cannot maintain the rule of law, And I need not emphasize that once there is no rule of law, the whole democratic setup will come in danger. Again, the human rights of the citizens can be protected only by an independent judiciary. That is why the judiciary has to be independent, and there is no dispute or doubt about that. At least no one says that it need not be independent, that it should be committed in a particular way, etc. Nobody says that. Now the appointments, promotions, transfers and removal, they should not be at least exclusively in the hands of the political executive. One thing which we must clearly understand is that independence of judiciary is not for the protection of the individual judges, but it is a need of the citizens to ensure that their fundamental rights are not taken away by the all-powerful state. The conditions of service of the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court, they cannot be varied to their disadvantage during the tenure of their office. The third provision is that the Parliament is barred from discussing the conduct of the judges, except of course in an impeachment motion. Then that the executive should not put pressure on the judiciary for funds is ensured by providing that sufficient funds for its functioning are made available from the Consolidated Fund of India and of the states. And these are the matters which are not subject to any discussion in the Parliament. Of course, when we speak of independence of judiciary, the process by which the judges are appointed, that cannot be overlooked. Now, though the provisions in the Constitution in that regard are fairly plain and simple, there has been much debate, discussion and disagreement over the true meaning and interpretation of these provisions. A plain reading of the constitutional provisions shows that the makers of the Constitution provided that the political executive and the judiciary will work in unison, make appointments based on ability and merit. The Supreme Court judges and the High Court judges shall be appointed by the President. In the constitutional law and conventions, the word President means the Council of Ministers of the Union Government, and in practice it means the Prime Minister. Now, consultation with the Chief Justice of India, and in case of that is necessary. These provisions, though simple, and were drafted with the hope that this would enable the executive and judiciary to work together and pick up the best possible candidates. You are aware that this has led to disputes. The consultation word has been used, and true meaning and import of the consultation, that was much debated. In early years, there was no friction in the matter of appointments, and nobody says that the judges appointed during that period were not good, or those appointments were not proper, or merited persons were not appointed. The collegium system, which was brought in force by the Supreme Court by its own decision, it has got a history. That is, in 1970s, somewhere the friction between the executive and the judiciary started, and a number of 3 judges of the Supreme Court were superseded when making the appointment of the Chief Justice of India, and then number of public interest litigations were filed. It was because there was a feeling that the judges were superseded as and by way of penalizing them for not falling in line with the policies of the then government. It was felt that the power of the government was being used to the judges to compromise the independence of the judiciary. The Constitution also permits transfer of the High Court judges, but it was felt that it was being used arbitrarily and to punish the judges who for some reason were not liked by the political executive. But Supreme Court has taken different stands at different point of time. In what is known as the first judge's case, the Supreme Court accepted the legal position that the right of the executive exists there in making appointments. There was no veto power with the CJI, and this was subsequently changed by the Supreme Court, and that is why the second judge's case, which brought the collegium system in force, where the judiciary had the final say in the matter of the appointments. Now, the collegium system was also criticized. You all know it is criticized not only by the political executive but even by the retired judges. Even I don't think that the collegium system worked well or everything was alright with that system. We will not go into the debate as to what should be the ideal system for appointment of judges. I will give my views on that. First thing I said that the executive may have some say in the matter, and we have to divide the system where ultimately the opinion of judiciary will weigh. But the biggest thing is that when the appointments were being made by the collegium system also, they were not free from criticism, and many appointments were criticized, accepted to be wrong later on by some of the persons who were responsible for those appointments. So the real issue will be of developing a proper method for appointments, and for that transparency would be required. So any method which we adopt, whether transparency is there or not, is important. I don't think that transparency existed in the collegium system either. Now, as far as the appointments of the subordinate courts are concerned, they are made in consultation with the High Court, and control over the postings, promotions, leave, etc. of the judges of the subordinate court is vested in the High Court. So they are also made independent of the executive. Now, having said all this, the question that we now need to address is whether these provisions by themselves ensure judicial independence. Can we say today that the judiciary is really functioning independently, that there are no extraneous pressures, there are no extraneous considerations? In my opinion, it would be difficult to say so. See, independence of judiciary postulates an ability to decide freely, without fear or favor, as also with freedom from bias and prejudice in arriving at a decision. The loyalty of the judges is to be to the Constitution and the laws. Now we have to consider whether the judges are indeed working in circumstances in which they can decide without fear or favor. Are they free from bias and prejudice? According to me, the first threat to the independent functioning of the judiciary comes from the attitude of the political executive. In a democratic state, it is expected that the political executive will realize the importance of an independent and impartial judiciary. It is expected that the political executive will realize that it is necessary not for enhancing the image or prestige of the judges, but to preserve the rule of law, which is essential for the welfare of the citizens and development and progress of the nation. However, if one sees, one doubts whether the executive really intends free and fearless judges. It intends to have fearless and free judges. In fact, I had a discussion with some academicians and scholars. They said that as a matter of theory, the political executive would always be interested in having weak, meek and subservient judges for obvious reasons. They said, of course, that's more relating to their notions of sociology. They said it is not likely that a political executive will create threats for himself by having independent and impartial, fearless judges, unless, of course, the executive is forced to take that decision. That we shall discuss later. I read a British author whose name I don't remember now. Now he was speaking about the independence of British judiciary, and among other things he had remarked that the judiciary is independent because the political executive wants it to be independent. It doesn't meddle with the judiciary even though it is possible to do so. And he says that is the restraint shown by the political executive that makes the judiciary independent. Maybe one would argue that the position in UK and in India would be different because here we have a written constitution well defining the powers of different organs of the state and the powers of the judiciary. But even then, one thing is certain, that how far the judiciary will be actually independent will depend on the will of the political executive. And if the political executive doesn't want an independent judiciary, it will be difficult for the judiciary to maintain its independence. The relevant provisions regarding the appointment, transfer, etc. of judges are interpreted differently by Supreme Court at different points, going from one extreme to another. You are aware of that. And that is where the problem arises. If the overall atmosphere in the country is not conducive for fearless and independent adjudication, we cannot entertain a false hope that the judiciary will be truly independent and would be able to decide without fear or favor. If the judges have fear of being also, there were attempts to undermine the confidence of the judges. And of course, recently there are a number of such instances are noticed. In one article, I have occasion to read an article written by Dushyant Dave, senior advocate and a former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association, which was published in Wire in March 2017, in which he has discussed how the judges whose rulings had gone against the government and its leaders were discovering that their prospects for advancement had been blocked. In fact, the author has gone to suggest in his article that there is a submission of the judiciary to the will of the political executive and no brave fight has been put up by the judiciary. Now, you know, the weapons available to the political executive against the judges are firstly denying appropriate and due promotions to them, and secondly the exercise of the power of transfer. Now, the author has said that the executive government would not be successful in this if the Supreme Court of India puts down its foot firmly against such wrongs, but that this is not happening, and there are instances where such judges were harmed. The inference of the author from this is that the Supreme Court has succumbed to the pressure of the political executive. Now, this is, if this is true, then this is indeed a very serious threat to the independence of the judiciary. If the judges believe that their legitimate promotions would be denied, or they would be subjected to some sort of transfer, some sort of harassment and humiliation by transfer, then their courage is bound to be affected. So this is the first factor which I said, but of course I feel that all these factors are interrelated, so there will be some overlapping to certain extent. Strangely, my view is that another serious threat to the independence of judiciary comes from the media. Now, it is paradoxical that the media, which is one of the pillars of the democracy and exercises the right of freedom of speech and expression in the interest of public, should pose a threat to the independence of judiciary, which is meant to protect the same fundamental rights, that is including the right of freedom of speech and expression. However, it is my observation that the recently born social media has become a serious nuisance to the judiciary and thus pose a threat to its independent functioning. The crimes and criminals sometimes are not ordinary. The enormity of the crime or the celebrity status of the accused, they attract a large publicity to the case. And as it is, the judges nowadays get more publicity than the judges get more publicity for the work which they do for their judgments than the judges in the past used to get. Of course, this results in not only in unwarranted criticism, but sometimes undeserved praise also. I have seen very ordinary and just well settled. The judges have won by well settled law, but there is a lot of praise for that. Maybe because nobody knows that has always been the law. Anyway, that's apart. In theory, the judges, they are not supposed to bother about such criticism, and they are supposed to be so trained that they remain unaffected by such criticism or possible criticism. But I tell you, my friends, that in practice it doesn't happen. The judges do fear public criticism and public opinion. At least this is what I have experienced. Whether they should or not, that's a different matter. But I can tell you that they do fear this public criticism, and they want to be seen as good as conscious, and how much is subconscious, I cannot say. But I can certainly say that it does affect the decision-making process. Now, why I spoke about the social media, they have to have some discussion for the view they project to that post. And remember that whatever little information I have got shows that this is not all bona fide. Many of you must be aware, I was not aware till recently, that there are paid persons employed to put this post on the social media. Means the powerful and the wealthy people, they have engaged people, they have to be told that you put this. One police officer had told me that one particular post was clicked 1,000 times in one day, so that it comes up. I did not know all these things. I learned from the cyber cell of the police when I was sitting judge in connection with some case. They said they deliberately click that again and again. So 1,000 times a post is clicked so that it comes up. So whenever you want to have an information about that person, if you search, immediately that will come up. So this is being done. And in such a case, here I would say one more thing, that I don't say bar, of course I will see that bar plays a great role, but bar is indifferent towards such things. Unless, they will not share that, but they will not oppose that also. So anyway, that's a different matter. So this print media and electronic media also is controlled by wealthy people who are often close to the political executive. This has been acknowledged by many renowned journalists, that the media is also controlled by wealthy people who are close to the executive or who want to be close to the executive. So such type of media where this whatever you want, it may not be actually public opinion also. It can be just generated falsely, and then it can be used by those who want to harm a particular member of the judiciary or the judiciary as a whole. And then this is how I said it is interlinked. So this type of irresponsible reporting, deliberately harming somebody's image or reputation, that is a serious threat to the independence of judiciary. Not all the judges will have courage to be true to their oath when they know that somebody is there waiting to tarnish their image should the decision be in a particular way. A frenzy is created by the media sometimes, and in such frenzy, even some people bona fide believe that some people may be deliberately doing it for ulterior motive, but that there are who by reading that believe that it has to be this way only because they don't think much about it. They don't know much about the law. And then when such an opinion is already generated, it would take courage to decide contrary to that just because that would be in accordance with law. Now, I have seen that in cases under these special acts, like TADA, POTA, UAP, and in Maharashtra that MCOC Act is there organized. There I have seen that the accused are already projected as dreaded criminals, anti-nationals, a threat to the security of the nations, etc. These phrases are often used even in the remand applications and all that. Now my experience shows that in such cases, the judges do not appreciate the material in the charge sheet or the evidence in the normal way, that is, the way in which they would do in other cases. I have seen that they tend to resort to a reasoning which goes consistently with the projection of the investigating agency or by the media or what we can call as a popular belief. Shockingly, I have seen that even the bar, eminent members of the bar also take it for granted that they would not get relief from the court in such cases. The bar knows the law and they know that there is no prima facie case. But even then, they are surprised if they get an order in favor of their client from the court in cases involving such draconian laws. So, when the atmosphere in the society is such that the judges feel safe, safe is a word, I will come to that, how I came to know about it, feel safe by deciding the matter in a particular way and in conformity with the so-called public perception, whether it is true or genuine, one doesn't know. It is believed to be public perception. If you decide against that, if such mentality is developed by the judges, it would be a serious threat to the independence of judiciary. Incidentally, in the context of the safety, I may tell you, I come from subordinate judiciary, so I have some friends in subordinate judiciary and I had some interaction with them before I became a High Court judge. After becoming a High Court judge, it was reduced for some reason because they did not probably think it proper to discuss with me certainly. So one judge told me, a district judge, a young district judge, that in the academy they were taught that you always pass safe orders. Now I was shocked. Safe orders means what? If you just endorse the state action or the action of the lower court, it is always safe. There are many issues which we can speak. I have seen that the fear is always only from one side. In fact, I have seen gross cases. I have seen cases where in some publicity attracted matters, I won't say serious matters because they may or may not be serious. Publicity attracted matters, some subordinate judge has released an accused on bail. Then some adverse effect of that order are reflected on his career. In his CRs, in Bombay, there were some abrupt transfers of some judges in the middle of the term. And the reason was that they had passed some orders of acquittal. Though nobody publicly acknowledged, officially nobody would acknowledge that. But I know for certain that it was because of some perception that these orders were wrong based on media reports. And without studying whether these orders were proper or not. Let us not go into that. But I have also seen many other cases where without absolutely there being no material, persons are remanded in custody for months. And in that case, all that happens maximum is that person gets bail from a higher court. I have not come across a case where a judge of the lower court is challenged because he did not pass an order of bail or because he convicted without there being slightest evidence or without the ingredients of the offence being met. All that it happens is that the wrong is remedied, but the judge is never accountable or responsible for that. But take a wrong order of bail, wrong means a perceived wrong order, then that may create problems. So this is how the judges are also taught, that you are on safe side. So safe side means you commit murder of justice, because one knows where is the safe side. So these type of teachings, if they are being given, I would not blame a single individual or single institution. I would say this is the atmosphere in the society. And then we speak of judicial independence. We have to seriously think that whether the judges can afford to be really independent and how many of them. Some of them would be there. Now, I may just in 1 minute tell about Ram Shastri. Those who are from Maharashtra, they will know Ram Shastri Prabhune, judge in the Peshwa regime. The would-be Peshwa to death. That sentence was not executed. The person became Peshwa also. Ram Shastri lost his job. And his life was saved not because of the position which he held as a judge, but because of the internal politics of the Maratha Sardars. So somebody came to his rescue and he... So this is what happened to the best judge. We call him best judge. But at that time, one may argue that time there was no concept of rule of law. But that is why Ram Shastri was braver. Now there is a concept of rule of law. There will be no threat to your life. But there will be serious other problems. So it is for us to think that when we speak of independence, is it possible and what will be the consequences if the judges really try to be independent and be true to their oaths? And of course, every person is different. There are judges. Nobody says that there are great judges who do not succumb to pressure, who refuse to succumb to pressure, do their duty. They don't do anything great in that, just they do their duty, remain true to their oath. But what happens to that judges? Sometimes they are penalized and that affects the moral courage of the others to pass similar orders. But there is a lot of speculation why a particular judge was not elevated at times or why he was transferred, and this type of speculation. The talks go that because of certain orders passed by him, this happened and that makes the others uneasy, and this factor is very dangerous for the independence of the judges. Now, incidentally, I may mention, this is my observation, we are here to discuss, not that everyone should agree with whatever I say, sometimes, but my view is that the judiciary's own attitude is also greatly responsible for this. I have seen how judiciary reacts to the criticism. Suppose a proper judgment is passed but it is criticized, the judiciary never defends it. It goes on the defensive. It realizes, yes, this is the trend, from now onwards I will adopt that trend. Now whether that is out of fear or whether it is because of ambition to be seen as a public-oriented, right-minded, a progressive judge, I don't know that. But it does happen. But this poses a serious threat to the independence of judiciary in as much as then the public also realizes that by such criticism, certain decisions can be forced. Then there is a further demand for further proper judgments, what they call as proper judgment by eminent authors. They are also worth remembering. He said, and I quote, "I will not do that which my conscience tells me is wrong upon this occasion, to get the huzzas of thousands or the daily praise of all the papers which come from the press. I will not avoid doing what I think is right, though it should draw on me the whole artillery of libels, all that falsehood and malice can invent, or the credulity of a deluded populace can swallow." There are judges who follow this, but when we speak of the independence as a whole, we have to just be realistic and see whether it is possible for the institution to function so independently in such situation which we have created. Also, a major threat to the judiciary comes, independence of judiciary comes from the judiciary itself, that is from within, that is from the attitude of the higher judiciary itself. Now one can understand that the executive doesn't want bold, courageous and truly independent judges. One can at least understand that. But experience shows, or at least renders it doubtful, whether even the judges, that is the superior judiciary, like the judges who are truly independent. While selecting persons for elevation from subordinate judiciary, it has been experienced that the weak and those who keep low profile are preferred by the judiciary itself than those who hold independent opinions and who have got courage to express. The judiciary, when times of trouble, they have always succumbed. That is what many people have said. Instead of putting up a fight, they have succumbed when the times are difficult. After the retirement, acknowledged that the particular decision or decisions given by them were wrong. Now that shows that when the decisions were rendered, they were under some pressure, or they took an easy path to avoid resistance. A man may be tired of having confrontations again and again, every now and then, and may adopt an easy course, the path of least resistance. And when such path of least resistance is likely to appeal to the public also, then one has a greater reason to adopt such a path. But by doing that, you are doing a disservice to the nation. You are not remaining true to your constitutional oath, and you are affecting the independence of judiciary. There are certain permanent vacancies in the High Court. Why do you appoint these additional judges? And do you expect that their behavior, when they are appointed as additional judges in these circumstances, will be the same which would be their behavior had they been permanent judges? And of course, knowing human nature, suppose an additional judge has disagreed with a senior judge who becomes a part of the collegium. What would happen to that additional judge? The least that can be said that he will always be uneasy in disagreeing with him. Justice Suresh in his book has written whether we need division benches. That's a very valid point. But I may tell you that many times the division bench consists of such a junior judge who is not interested in any case in giving any dissenting opinion. So if such is the case, these decisions are actually taken by one person only and shown as of two persons, and such type of appointments means permanent posts are available, vacant posts are there, but still you are appointing somebody as additional judge who may disagree with you, who has got whose rights, whose authority is equal to you, but then again you are supposed to say whether it should be made permanent or not. Now this is also paradoxical, this is a bad practice, it should be stopped forthwith in my opinion. Now transfers of the High Court judges. Under the Constitution it is permissible, nobody doubts it. But by judicial pronouncements the parameters have been laid down. It has been made clear that this power to transfer will not be used as a punishment to punish a judge for the perceived wrong which he has done. Now these parameters, when this was thought that this can be used to harass independent judges, some parameters were laid down that the Chief Justice of India, he must be consulted. There should be a report from the High Court, Chief Justice of the concerned High Court. But I will tell you, there are a number of transfers which have been done or effected without following these parameters which have been laid down by the Apex Court itself. The Apex Court, in spite of knowing that these parameters have not been followed, have still permitted transfers to be effected. So these are the factors which pose a serious threat to the independence of judiciary. Now the need for the independent judiciary would be more in difficult